Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do Unit 1, test correction. So if you need to do this, you need to make sure that you're writing everything that I am writing. Okay, so we're over here to number 1. It says the tree diagram represents a relationship between the sets and subsets of rational numbers. Okay, this starts with our big category, which is rational, and then it goes from rational, and then we drop down to, it breaks down into integers, and then whole, and then natural. Okay, so if you look at this, rational is this big section, and then this looks like whole numbers, so that would be there. This is here, so this would have to be integers. Integers are negative and positive whole numbers. Okay, so whole numbers means no decimal or fraction, so it can't be this one. These are fractions. This one is negative and positive whole numbers, so that's our answer choice, and D is out. Okay, so number 2. In January, the temperature was 9 degrees. The temperature dropped 12 degrees. What is a new temperature? Well, it was 9. It dropped. That means it went down 12. 9 minus 12 is negative 3 degrees, which is answer choice H. Number 3. Which visual representation correctly describes the relationships between the sets and subsets of rational numbers? So like I drew that visual, rational, integer, whole, and then natural. Well, this is not the same because there's not even any integers. Okay, rational, natural, integers comes before natural, so this one is not going to work out either. Rational, integers, whole, natural, that looks right to me. And then whole, integers, natural, it can't go in that order because you couldn't be a whole, you'd have to be an integer, would come before whole numbers. So simplify down to that one. Okay, number 4. Jessica went to the grocery store and purchased a box of cereal for $3.75, milk for $1.50, and bread for $2.25. She paid with a $20 bill. How much change? Okay, so we're going to add up all the things that she bought. Okay, so if we add those up, 12, 13, 14, 15, 4, 5, 6, 7, we get $7.50. And then if she paid with a $20 bill, we subtract what she bought, and we learn that she has $12.50 left. So we would put $12.50 in there. Okay, moving on to number 5. Nicholas has 5.5 cups of flour. The recipe for... Okay, Nicholas has 5.5 cups of flour. The recipe for a cake he is making calls for 3 3/4 cup of flour, and he also needs 8 cups of flour for a cookie recipe. How much more flour will Nicholas need to make the cake and cookies? Okay, so we're looking for how much more. So we know that's a subtraction problem, but we have this much, and we can subtract these two. Or what I'm going to do is add this one and this one together. So I'm going to say 8 plus 3 3/4 and get 11 3/4. And I had this much, but I need this much. So really I'm doing 5 1/2 minus 11 3/4. Well, we know that 11 3/4 is bigger. So we're going to subtract and keep this on the larger. So I'm going to actually flip them over. I know my answer is going to be negative, but all the answers are going to be, because we're saying how much more. I need a common denominator, which is going to be 2/4. So I'm going to change this to 2/4. And then I'm going to subtract 3/4 minus 2/4 is 1/4, and 11 minus 5 is 6. So I need 6 1/4 cups of flour. Cole is making decorated jelly bean bags for a party. Each bag contains 5-6 pounds of jelly beans. If Cole has purchased 1,000 pounds of jelly beans, how many party bags can Cole make? Okay, so really we're dividing this 1,000 pounds of jelly beans by 5-6 per bag. So I'm going to keep this over 1. I'm going to keep, change, and flip. Okay, so I can simplify this. 5 will go into 1,200 times, and 1 time there, and we get 1,200 over 1. So we can make 1,200 party bags. Number 7, to complete a planter box, Mr. Michaels will purchase cedar boards that are 2 inches wide, 8 feet long. He will need to cut down the length of the boards into pieces that are 1 1/3 inches. How many pieces can Mr. Michael cut from each 8-foot long board? Okay, so I need you to know that this is a division problem. We're dividing this board by this size of piece. Okay, so we're breaking it down. But 8 feet, we need to convert to inches. So there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So 8 feet would be 96 inches. So this whole piece is 96 inches. And this little piece is 1 1/3 inches long. So we're saying 96 inches divided by 1 1/3. Okay, so we're going to put 96 over 1. And we're going to do divided by 4/3. Keep, change, flip. Okay, if I simplify this, 4 goes into 96. 24 times. 24 times 3 is 72. So we can make 72 1 1/3 inch pieces. Gracie is selling picture frames and wants to compute the areas of each of the frames that she sells. One of the frames measures 1/2 foot wide and 3.8 feet long. What is the area of the size of the picture frame? Okay, so area is base times height. So 3.8 times 1/2 foot. So I'm going to change that to a decimal, which is 0.5. So 3.8 times 0.5. 5 times 4 is 40. 5 times 3 is 15, 19. And we have 2, so 2. So our answer is 1.9 square feet. Number 9, Fidel has $217.18 in his checking account until the end of the month. He writes a check for $357.42. How much does Fidel have in his checking account? So this is what he had. He wrote a check, so that's subtracted. Okay, so we have this second one number is bigger than the first number, so we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger. So we know it's going to be a negative sign. Okay, so we can't be here and can't be here. So we're going to borrow. And we get 140.24. So that's going to be answer choice B. Our last question is number 10, and it says Savannah discovered an error in her checkbook and recalculated her balance. She determined that she was overdrawn. That means she's negative, okay? So this negative sign dropped down here with this. Savannah saved 2 of her paychecks, each in the amount of $298.40 and for a special occasion. If Savannah deposited both checks, what would her new balance be? Well, if she did 2 of these checks, we'd have to figure out how much money that is. So we're going to multiply it times 2, or we could add it twice. And I got $596.80. Well, she has this, so we have different signs. So $638.57. And I'm going to subtract the $596.80 because they're different signs, so we're going to have to subtract and keep the sign of the larger. And I got $41.77. We know it's negative because it's bigger. And that is my answer choice for the last question. Now, this needs to all be written on your test, turned back into me for a correction grade.